But this is the winter storm here, 2026. So it's pretty quiet here. A lot more quieter than usual. So, but it's really nice. I really like it. So keep on walking. Definitely freezing my bottle up right now. Day 4 with Alaska. It's looking a bit better. Things are slowly melting. Oh, look at that. Moving close. Cannot lie, I almost just died right there. The ice is like very slippery and definitely not safe to walk on. Hey everybody, it's Andrew here. Hope we're all doing well. Hope you liked the little segment of the snow and the winter storm that kind of came in here the last couple of days. It's been a few days after. Now it's kind of all melted now. It's a little chilly, but I mean there's still like some ice here, like in the the sides of my yard. But now I want the video to transition to what I do want to talk about in this video, and just don't force what you're not. Whenever I look back and think of times where I've tried to fit in with people and try to force myself into being someone that I'm not, and not feel like I can really feel alive and be willing to share things with people, it's not very fulfilling and obviously not very satisfying. It just creates suffering like in the long term. Sometimes we idealize the life that we can have if we were just liked by everybody and we had everything that we wanted, and no one can really see you unless you show them. And sometimes people, they don't vibe with that. They don't, they're not gonna want to be around you. So when you're faced with that, you either decide to either accept it or don't show that side of yourself anymore. And for me, I think when I think of times when I've dealt with that, I've definitely fell down the path of not sharing that side of myself anymore and just kind of going along with what people say. But there comes a point in a individual's life, you can't keep hiding parts of yourself just to keep a relationship going, especially when it's been around for a long time. Do these planes keep flying by like crazy? These little like private jets. I bet Jerry Jones is flying by right now. You can't just keep hiding parts of yourself, because those parts of you want to be seen, want to be understood, and like we can keep everything up here for a long time, but we want to find people that can actually listen to us and who are willing to understand you, are willing to see you, even try to understand, and have openness of letting you communicate their own thoughts and your own perspective in a world as well. And I know sometimes it can feel easy just to like feel closed off and just not want to talk to anybody anymore and just be in your own world and not engage with anybody. But obviously that's not healthy. And it can be challenging when you try to engage with people and share things that you want to share, and but sometimes you always can't give too much in it. So the wisest thing that I've learned is just not to invest so much time into people that aren't willing to see you or understand you or even try to engage with your own inner world or thinking. And you don't need their approval either. Just because someone can't approve you or can't accept you for who you are does not mean that devalues you as a person or yourself, your self-worth. Because just because one individual, one person does not accept you doesn't mean the whole world doesn't. And you shouldn't let someone else's opinion affect you in your life, because at the end of the day, that's their opinion. That's how they view it. And some people, they can't see it another way around. And of course, as human beings, as people, we like to be approved and seen and, liked by people. But it's important to be self aware and realize that not everyone's going to like you and not everyone is going to see the same things like you. And that's an important part of growth in anybody's life. And it's important to accept that. Like I said, it is not just because people don't like you does not mean it's affect the value of who you are as a person. The value you set yourself as a person is expectations and goals and things that you tell yourself at the end of the day, and that you're willing to accept yourself for who you are and not feel ashamed for who you are as a person as well. Because you don't want to fall in the trap of seeking other people's approval and adjusting to their needs and just have like a one-sided relationship that's unfulfilling and unsatisfying. So, but then when you stop forcing what you're not, you need to accept who you really are. You need to learn who you really are, and that of itself is its own process. It requires observations and self-awareness of what you're doing and what you're thinking and how you like as a person. You can also, most importantly, creating and forming your own foundation. Because sometimes we can carry that from other people, and you realize that some things that you thought you liked or thought that you agree with don't, because you just went along with what everyone else said. You don't actually question what you're actually doing or what you're thinking or or maybe your mind framework of how you perceive things. And you can instantly tell when something just doesn't fit anymore, but you've kind of always known that, and you acknowledge it, and then you're willing to create your own foundation and figure that out for yourself and learn from your own experience and thinking. So to stop forcing what you're not, you acknowledge the suffering in your life, the friction in your life that's causing in your relationships and your lifestyle. You're willing to put down the table and say, enough of that. You're willing to identify the things that you conform for other people and things that you think you have to do. You can start saying no to that. And then, of course, you learn who you actually are. You form your own identity. You form your own foundation of who you are, what you believe in, what you think is right. You become the authentic version of yourself. And ultimately, you build trust within yourself. You don't really question too much of your abilities, and if you're doing something wrong, of course, it's good to question that and always improve and look at ways to get better. Not to say just to ignore, just to think that you're perfect. Obviously, you're not. No one is. But you build trust when you accept yourself. When you let the doubts fade out. When you're willing to have the courage to say yes to things that seem scary at first, but you want it so bad. To end that relationship, to move out of your parents' house or change jobs. Make that big decision that you always wanted to make. It's just, you build trust within yourself when you build courage. But it all starts when you're willing to acknowledge that you've been forcing yourself to be someone who you're not. And that itself takes courage as well. That's all I pretty much got for you. Thank you for watching. But comment down anything that you found interesting in this video, or anything that came to mind to you during this video, or if it's at least helpful to anybody. But like I said, that's all I got for y'all today. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all later.